I always give all his credit, no, but we need to run it back. That's why my tough. When after the fight, I say we need to run it back this fight because I don't feel the way I really want, and I need to make this fight happen again, no, and it's gonna be different. I think for him to deserve all the credit, he need to give me the rematch, obviously. But he decided to retire, and we need to accept that and move forward.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just no let me go.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you? Or do you think it's better for him to just or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else because my style is just, a bad matchup for him. Now,
Terence Crawford, coming off an incredible showing, is making his position crystal clear. He's been upfront about Canelo Alvarez's sudden calls for a rematch and isn't accepting any excuses. Crawford has already shown he knows the strategy and has the mindset to dominate the Mexican star in a real fight, not just get by. This isn't only about protecting his legacy. It's about earning respect, and Crawford is ready to end the excuses for good.
Did you watch the Terence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight?
Yeah, I did.
Ooh, talk about slick. Oh my goodness. Who's ever done that? Who's ever jumped up 2 weight classes like that? It's crazy.
Scary.
He's so clever, and it got to the point where he got so comfortable, he's like pit-patting him, and then like, what? And you're watching, like, this is amazing.
Like, that's history, obviously. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
greatest of all time. And do what you did. You're beyond an outlier. You're an anomaly.
Terence Crawford achieved the extraordinary, moving up several weight classes to face the naturally bigger Saul Canelo Alvarez. Rather than backing down or just surviving, Crawford delivered a masterful performance. He faced Canelo head-on, using sharp angles, precise counters, and flawless defense that left the super middleweight champ clearly hurt and frustrated. The most striking moment came after the fight. At the press conference, Canelo gave no excuses. He accepted the loss, admitted he couldn't solve Crawford's tactics, and even said Crawford was far superior to Floyd Mayweather. It was a clear moment of genuine respect.
And lastly for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Just a few months later, that humble acceptance has completely disappeared. Canelo recently spoke about the loss, and the story has changed so much that fans are having a hard time taking it seriously. Now he claims his body didn't respond that night, blaming severe leg cramps, elbow problems that supposedly needed surgery, and a sudden lack of focus. The combat sports world hasn't held back, with social media mercilessly comparing these late excuses to Deontay Wilder's infamous costume claim. The shift is shocking, especially from someone who used to pride himself on taking no excuses. Things get even stranger with Canelo's new demands. He isn't just explaining the loss, he insists that Crawford owes him a rematch. On a recent podcast, he boldly said that for Bud to get full credit for the win, they must fight again this September. But the harsh reality is that the original contract had no rematch clause. Crawford intentionally left it out, along with any rehydration limits, to ensure Canelo would be at his best and the win would be clean. Now, with Crawford set to retire in December 2025, Canelo is scrambling for leverage that simply doesn't exist.
For. He was given a lot of credit. There's no rehydration clause, blah, blah. Oh my God, Bud's such a fighter. I'm up here making the argument. See, no excuses. He doesn't need a Mayweather rehydration clause. But really, why did he do all that? Because if you want the shot, you got to do it according to Canelo's terms.
Yes.
He still beat Canelo comprehensively and decisively. In the rematch, Crawford would be within his rights to say, okay, wait a minute. Now there's going to be a rehydration clause. Now there are going to be some things that favor me. And once that happens, it's just going to get worse for Canelo.
I wouldn't like that. Crawford's legacy. I don't think I know, but his character.
If you were Canelo, if you were Crawford, like, I understand what you mean. I already proved my point the first time. All right, you want the rematch? Okay, but now it's going to be on my conditions.
You maybe different money terms. Say you want, you want parity and money, which obviously never has been with Canelo. Stuff like that.
See, that's my thing. You begging for this fight, and you go on these shows where he's
I don't think he's begging for it either.
He's not begging.
You know what? Shady loves to say that. Oh, why did you get into it with fighters? You know why? Because I interact with the fighters. Let's get Canelo here, and then you say this to Canelo.
You think I'm gonna get this thing? I don't care about that.
Listen, man.
You'd think an enormous payday would be enough to pull any retired fighter back. But Terence Crawford is on a completely different level. Rumors have swirled that Turki Alalshik offered a jaw-dropping $100 million to tempt Bud out of retirement for a second fight. For almost any athlete, that kind of money is irresistible. Crawford's answer, however, stunned the boxing world. He said no, making it clear that he can't be bought. He emphasized that his principles and personal integrity matter far more than another huge paycheck, showing that he's one of the rare stars not motivated solely by money.
$100 million for me, don't even talk to me about it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear. Basically, let me translate, because we know Crawford don't like to do too much trash talking. He likes to keep it clean. What Crawford is saying to Canelo, the price on your head for a rematch is $100 million, because he already collected it last time. Canelo is not gonna go with the rematch. Talk is cheap. With Crawford being the A side, with Crawford getting the lion's share, with Crawford getting fair judges, mainly, Canelo is gonna say, hell nah, to the no rematch. I'm telling you, he gonna start speaking English again. We haven't heard Canelo speak English for a minute now, I think. As soon as they show Canelo Alvarez the realistic terms on the contract for the rematch, he's gonna wake up to reality.
The real reason Crawford is turning down a massive payday is much darker and rarely discussed in boxing's glamorous world. When talking about a potential rematch, Bud explained that the fight itself isn't the problem. The real challenge is the brutal toll of a high-level training camp. Spending months pushing his body to the limit just to face a huge opponent takes a permanent toll on his health. Crawford is thinking long-term, choosing a healthy, pain-free life with his family over a quick paycheck that could leave him dealing with lasting injuries long after the fans stop cheering.
Because boxing is not all about knocking somebody out. Yes, that's part of it. That can happen, but boxing is a sport where you can outpoint somebody too. That's why they go to the scorecard.
I appreciate that take, bro. That's real educated, man, real thoughtful. But you ain't had a decision win in a long time, bro. You known for like being a great finisher. So I appreciate that. But that ain't how you moving though.
Right.
Please explain that to me. You just saying overall.
Yeah, overall.
You say, hey, I like to do this, but this is not for everybody.
It's definitely not, because it's a price to pay. It's definitely a price to pay when you fight those type of fights.
Yeah.
When everybody thinks nothing going on. Yeah. But all them punches add up.
Yeah, buddy.
All them punches add up.
He ain't got a bruise or nothing. Yeah. He didn't take no punishments, like, bro. My head hurt.
Your head hurt.
I'm in this room right now trying to get right, and y'all chilling, partying downstairs.
Yeah. Like all them punches add up. Punches in sparring add up. All them punches add up, and when one is good one day, and then it just all hit him out of the blue. He ain't even boxing no more, it just hit him. And then people be like, man, you all right, man? What's wrong with you?
You never know when that's gonna happen.
You never know. It's gonna come.
Yeah.
Stay around
long enough. Yeah.
And it's just like, dang. You know what I mean? Is you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You might start slurring a little bit. You might start forgetting a lot of things. Yeah. You might get a little dementia. You might keep repeating the same thing over and over, and you don't even know it, But that's from all that accumulation of punches to the brain.
But I know you probably have too, I done been in the presence of fighters, bro, where that stuff is happening, and I'm like, where they say something to you and they just told you 2-3 minutes earlier, you like, brother, you just said that.
Definitely.
That's scary to me.
Definitely.
That's scary to me.
I look at all the...
Instead of getting pulled into a messy media battle, Crawford has mastered the ultimate PR move, silence. While Canelo jumps from podcast to podcast, airing his complaints, Crawford hasn't responded to a single one. That quiet confidence is driving critics wild because there's nothing for them to attack. After his historic win, Crawford asked the crowd, "What more can they say now?" That line has only grown stronger with time. By staying silent, Bud keeps the moral high ground, letting his flawless unanimous decision speak for itself while Canelo struggles with his own frustrations.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you, or do you think it's better for him to just kind of, or more lucrative, to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else, because my style is just, a bad matchup for him. Now, financially wise, I would be like, yeah, he should fight me. But like on the outside looking in, knowing boxing, you can really get hurt. So I would just tell him, like, if you're gonna continue to fight, don't get in the ring with a guy like me.
Yeah, there's a popular adage in sports, kind of gets reused over again. It's kind of cliche, Father Time is undefeated. 38 years old, we see a lot of athletes now go into their late 30s and 40s and produce at a high level. How much longer do you want to do this?
I don't know.
No clue yet? Did beating Canelo make you think about those next steps in any way, or?
Before Canelo, I was thinking about a lot, and I'm still thinking about it a lot. I just haven't made my final decision. But once I make it, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to make it here soon.
Beneath all the drama, serious boxing fans see a real reason why Crawford won't return. On forums like Reddit, many point out the sport's risky politics. Canelo is still seen as boxing's biggest cash draw and is starting his own promotional company. Fans worry that if Crawford agreed to fight again, the boxing world would do everything to give Canelo revenge. No matter how well Crawford performs, there's a real chance he could be cheated on the scorecards to protect Canelo's earning power. There's no reason for Crawford to step blindly into a setup like that.
I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him. I think rematch with Canelo would be the best thing for him to do.
But what if Terence Crawford did come out of retirement to face Canelo in a 2026 rematch? It would instantly become one of boxing's biggest events. Still, experts are warning that it could be a disaster for Canelo. Their first fight wasn't close. Crawford controlled the match from start to finish. Wade Pleman put it simply, a rematch wouldn't end well for Saul.
Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 2026, and my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well. For one, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Wade didn't hold back, highlighting that Canelo repeats the same mistakes in every fight, no matter the opponent. He pointed to Canelo's flat-footed stance, limited movement, and low punch output. These flaws were clear in the first fight, and Crawford capitalized perfectly on them. Wade says Canelo still has a lot of work to do in the gym before even thinking about a rematch. Crawford, on the other hand, only needs to show up. He already knows exactly how to beat Canelo.
I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch. Honestly, you will look at the first fight, and the things that plagued Canelo were essentially the things that plague him against most boxers. His flat feet, his lack of movement, his lack of volume. He couldn't get to Terence. He was overextending. He was getting caught with counter shots as he overextended. The big shown around, memed, and replayed moment of the fight is Canelo trying to throw a hook and a right hand, and Terence Crawford slipping on the outside and banging the left-hand counter behind it. Canelo was beaten to the punch from distance. He was beaten in exchanges, and even in points in the fight, he was beaten inside by Terence Crawford. This was I wouldn't say dominant, but I would say more one-sided than I thought win for Terence Crawford, where he flat out outboxed Canelo, and he took Canelo's power. Like, there were times where Canelo landed the big right hand, and Terence Crawford took it. So what would be different if they fought again? The only different thing that potentially could happen would be in Canelo's hands. He would have to find ways to be be different. And as much as I would love to believe that's possible, Canelo getting up there in age, I understand Terence Crawford is older, but Terence Crawford already fights at a way that's advantageous versus Canelo. He doesn't really have to change much. And he's fighting up a couple of weight classes from where he normally did, so he doesn't have to really worry about a weight cut either. And he's filled into that weight class because he looked just as big, if not bigger, that Canelo Alvarez did on fight night. So the question is,
Wade explained that the only way Canelo could beat Bud Crawford is by bringing his absolute best. He referenced one of Canelo's previous top performances, showing what the fighter is capable of. According to Wade, Canelo would need to fix every mistake from the first fight and go all out if he hopes to have a chance in a rematch against Bud.
Realistically think Canelo could and should and would do differently for this fight is he would have to fight Terence Crawford like he fought Sergey Kovalev at 175. That's genuinely what he would have to do. He'd have to be lighter on his feet, he'd have to throw more combinations, and he'd have to be quicker with his hands, as he was in that fight. And I'm not saying that he changes everything about himself. Canelo had success in moments with Bud Crawford, but that's what he would have to do, and some, right? He would have to be able to add layers to his game and not be so flat-footed. And if he's going to combination punch, he's got to do so in the fire with Terence Crawford, which going into the first fight, I didn't think Terence Crawford was going to have as much success with his combination punching because he'd have to be in front of the powerful hands of Canelo. But again, he was able to do so off the back foot and front because Canelo threw one at a time. He threw the jab or the right hand, or he threw the hook right hand. And again, Terence Crawford remained mostly southpaw, which does give Canelo problems because now he has to lead with his backhand versus punctuate with it, and his jab gets neutralized, and it's just a mess of a fight for Canelo. It really is. I don't hate that he wants to get that back, and the matchup itself is, again, one of the only ones that Canelo can still have. Make a shit ton of money and potentially not completely kill his...
Even so, Wade believes Canelo has little chance of beating Crawford in a rematch. Sharing his prediction, he was clear that Terence Crawford would be the superior fighter. He noted that Crawford's style doesn't match well with Canelo's and suggested it's time for Canelo to move on from the loss.
The first time he saw him, and maybe you could say, listen, Canelo just needed to see him one time to figure out that puzzle, right? He figured out Triple G, was able to re-implement it in the rematch, and then the third fight, it was not even a great fight. Canelo just did what he wanted. But this is not the case, I don't think, with Crawford. I think Crawford just has a style that is really, really tough for Canelo, and I'll be honest, if they fought again, it would be more dominant for Terence Crawford. I truly think if in 2026 they book this rematch, I think Crawford dominates him even worse. And I'm not saying he stops Canelo because I don't know if that's something that Terence could get at 168 because Canelo's chin has still really never been tested like that. Like, he didn't really get hurt in the Crawford fight. He just got outboxed. But maybe he potentially would be able to stop him. But I just think it would be more one-sided than we saw in the first fight and would just reestablish that Terence Crawford is that fucking guy in this sport right now. The top guy, the head honcho in this sport, which is, I don't know. I mean, is it dangerous to Canelo's legacy to lose to the best of this era and the best of the era previously? I don't know. Like, did Canelo ever have an era where he was the best in the world? Maybe that's the question he's still trying to answer himself, and why he would want this rematch with Crawford. But when I see this news coming out of him wanting the rematch, having the elbow surgery, maybe in his mind going, okay, my elbow wasn't fresh, I wasn't able to turn my shots over, so that's why I can win this rematch. I like the competitive nature of it. I don't like the fight for him. I think the matchup's all wrong for Canelo. I think this style of fight, in terms of what Terence Crawford does well, is counterpunching off the front and back foot, his ability to go from range with his jab, be inside with it too, protect himself, catch counter with punches. He's got just a different timing than Canelo really has on his punches, and then you pair it with the volume that Terence Crawford can throw, and his feet, and his angles. This is the bad match.
In the end, Terence Crawford has played the perfect game. He climbed the mountain, defeated the giant, secured his fortune, and walked away with his legacy completely untarnished. He proves that sometimes the smartest move is simply stepping back and letting your rival face their own challenges. Is Canelo hurting his own legacy with these late excuses, or does Crawford owe the boxing world one final epic rematch? Share your thoughts in the comments. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our future videos. Don't forget to drop your opinions below, and we'll see you in the next one.